Hello Southies, welcome back to the channel. If you're new, my name is Ceci, and in today's video I am doing a speed build of a modern style home. I did this build over on my Twitch channel, 25th and Live, the other day, and I usually, if I build something over there, I'll bring it over here as a speed build. I did find an inspiration photo, at least for the front of the build, and then the rest of the build, I kind of just winged it as far as what the exterior would look, or what the interior would look like, and how the back of the house would be set up. But this is on a lot in Willow Creek. I believe it's in the same neighborhood as the Pancake House. And so I can't remember the exact size of it, but I think it's originally called the Potter Sleigh or something like that. But yeah, I wanted to build sort of a modern family home, although the Sims that live here are a family. They're not like, I didn't want to do a sort of traditional mom or parents, kids type situation. So in this house, you have a young adult brother and sister. They're probably just a few years apart in age. The sister was a model for a very long time and then decided to quit modeling and become a photographer. The brother is a woodworker, carpenter. You can commission him to make furniture and various stuff like that. And then a little while ago, they allowed their father, who they're a bit estranged from, move into the guest bedroom, or what was the daughter's photography studio, and she moved to the office, her photography studio. And so their dad, he's a bit of a free spirit, bit of a grifter. The daughter's really excited to have him here. The son, not so much. He thinks that dad's just gonna pop out. So that's kind of how this household is set up. And then the house itself, the interiors are very eclectic. I imagine that the daughter has traveled all over the world and she's collected tons of different things, either from various photo shoots or just in her travels. And then her brother isn't as traveled as her. Like, she's might have been able to convince him to come to some of the places that she's been to do photo shoots, but for the most part he is a homebody and he has stayed within Willow Creek where they grew up, probably very close to here. I imagine their mom, though, no longer lives in Willow Creek. I imagine that she's probably moved to somewhere now that she is a empty nester. She's probably moved someplace. But yes, so he's not as well traveled as she is, and their style is their home style is mostly her influence. But I did off camera include some things that I would think that he kind of built for the house, or he built. Like, I changed the dining table, you'll see, into a more wooden dining table to make it look like maybe he built it. But yeah, that's kind of how the house is set up. And again, I wanted to make sort of an ultra modern looking home. I've got a lot of inspiration from this show on Netflix that I believe was originally on the BBC, called Extraordinary Homes, something like that. So if you want to feel poor, if you want to feel like you have never accomplished anything and you will never accomplish anything, you should go check out this TV show, because there are some really amazing, some very kind of like, why would anybody live here homes as well, but mostly really pretty homes, and a lot of concrete homes, which, if you've seen a couple of my speed builds, there's a couple. I like the idea of like exposed, unpainted painted concrete as living as like a space for you to live in, not just a commercial type of material. Rich people love concrete. Like, if you watch this show, rich people are obsessed with concrete. I feel like every single episode there is a house either completely made of concrete or has a lot of concrete in it, and a lot of like raw materials, a lot of wood materials, and a lot of metal. And so this house, even though it's a bit more suburban in style, as far as like it's traditionally suburban, as far as like there's a living room, a great room, an office, and bedrooms, and it's not like once you go inside, it's not that off kilter or anything. It's pretty traditional. It has a lot of untraditional materials traditional materials, but that you would use in a different way. Like a lot of wood paneling, and I would think that black surface is probably, I feel like it comes in the wood paneling. It's spa day. No, it's fitness. It's from the fitness stuff pack. But I would say that it's probably some sort of treated or painted concrete or stone or something like that. So now we're finally moving into the interior. And again, I started to do the interior before I figured out the family that lived here. Sometimes, or a lot of times, I'll build an exterior, and as I'm building an exterior, I'm thinking about who lives in this house, how is this house being used, or how is this space being used, and then I'll go over to cast and create the family and kind of build their personalities, and then I'll come back and start to decorate. But I kind of started to do the living room, and as I did the living room, try to start coming up with who lives here. At first, I was going to move. This save file that I'm in right now has a version of my sim self and her husband, Joaquin, and they apparently have a baby. And so I did start off making this house for them, but then as I kind of kept sort of thinking about who lives here, I already built my dream home, and as much as I love this house, and probably IRL would love to live in a house that looks like this, my dream home is much more of a traditional type space, or a traditional type home, like from maybe like, oh my gosh, maybe like the 70s. I don't know, just a really traditional, it's on the channel, just a really traditional looking home that's not too dated, where you don't look at it and you know that, oh, that house was made in the 80s, that house was made in, the 90s, maybe more of a 50s style farmhouse type of vibe. So I was like, I can't really decorate this place because I've already done that. I've already built my dream home. Not that I can't build another dream home, but this wouldn't really be it. Like I said, I'd live here, but it's not my dream home. So then I decided I would just build it for a different type of family. But again, I did get some inspiration from watching that show, that blue rug from Jungle Adventure, that I never use Jungle Adventure rugs because they're so ornate and they look really cartoony and not real. I did see a house where they had this really bright blue rug, and all the furniture on top of it and couches and chairs are very muted, and it just looked so cool. So I decided to do that. I get rid of that karaoke machine because even though it fits, like, again, this house was originally made for a more like parent-child household, like small family, like young family, I should say, household. And so I got rid of all the music stuff because in my gameplay, Joaquin is a musician, or in my LP of my sim self, Joaquin is a musician, and he's a musician in this save file as well. And so when I changed who lives here, I got rid of that stuff. But I wanted to keep it in so you guys can see my process. Plus, I was sort of decorating it as I go. Then I went to the exterior, which normally when I build like all of the exterior, including the landscaping. But as some of you might know, I've had to take off due to being sick. And I took off for a really long time. So this is like the first build that I've done to kind of get me back into the groove. Because while I was sick, I didn't even open my computer, let alone my game. And so this build was sort of my first sort of getting back into building. I was on Twitch a couple of weeks ago, but I didn't build. I just decorated an apartment. So yeah, that I kind of was a little bit rusty on how I do things and my process. Like it did, as I was building, I was like, this is weird. This is not how I normally do stuff. And then I immediately went to the exterior. But for the plants, because this is such a modern build, I feel like my normal kind of way of landscaping, where I just sort of do really lush, full, kind of very colorful flower beds and stuff, just wouldn't work. I put in a little bit of color with some yellow flowers, but mostly it's just bushes and plants. And the people that live here, they're not really like gardening people. The son might be somewhat, because he's all about the eco lifestyle, but I think that he's so enamored in his carpentry business that I don't think he'd have time to garden. So I tried to use plants that look like they didn't need a whole lot of maintenance. And I feel like flowers are plants that need a lot of maintenance. So a lot of just green stuff from every single pack pretty much. And then as you saw, I kind of went through and sort of updated and did different things with the exterior. Here I am putting a courtyard in because there's really no backyard space. I didn't really leave a whole lot of backyard space, and so I figured a courtyard would be good to have that kind of outdoor living space. And I think that if you did decide to move a more sort of like young family with kids, that you could easily fit in toys and things back here, like maybe the swing set you could fit back there, or you could put the swing set at the front of the house if you want to just make it look like the people that live here don't care about style at all. I did decide to put a little driveway because there is no garage. I know obviously we don't have functional cars in the game, which personally I don't care to have functional cars in the game. It doesn't really bother me, but I do kind of, when I'm building now these days, not having some place for like a car or some to go, it just feels very unrealistic. It's like you build this whole house, there's no garage, there's no carport, there's no nothing, unless the house is kind of like out in the wilderness and you park down a path and have to walk up it or something. I don't know. Okay, so this is the sister's office. Yasmin is her name. This is her photography studio, really. This was kind of a tight space. When I was taking screenshots and player testing, I did move a lot of stuff around to try and make that fit. So you'll see in the screenshots things are a little different. I couldn't really figure out what type of photography she does, but I feel that she does maybe a lot of still photography. So maybe she mostly works with advertising companies, taking pictures of like products for businesses and that type of thing. I think that for her, maybe after being in as a model for so long, she can't stand like the whole industry as far as models and that stuff goes. So she's like, I'll just take pictures of like fruit and shoes and just products. And if I'm taking pictures of like clothing and there needs to be a human, I'll just use normal people. I'm not going to use models. So maybe she's kind of really over the whole industry. And again, as you saw, I kind of moved the office out a little bit because I was afraid there wasn't enough room to move around. There is enough room, but your Sims might not stand exactly where you want them to if you do decide to take photos of people in this office. But everybody can get around, they can get to the desk, they can get to the camera and all that stuff. So you will not see some of the changes that I made on camera. For instance, all of the rooms right now are white. Off camera, when I was I don't think I was player testing, but when I kept looking at the house, I felt like it needed more color. So like this room, you'll see in the screenshots, is now wood panel, like the exterior. And then the kitchen living room is now stone to kind of match with the fireplace. And so it's got like stone rocks. And then I decided to use these sort of half walls in the hallway and to sort of give a little bit of a separation. So the entire middle is an atrium sort of space, like where the hallway is. As you saw, their roof line is there and there are windows. So imagine that kind of walking through there, it's always a little bit dramatic. So here I am just decorating the courtyard, and even though this is just a 3-household family of adults, I think that at least Yasmin loves to entertain. Her brother Sean is probably just as happy of not having people in his house, but I think that Yasmin kind of likes to invite friends and people over in the neighborhood over. So I wanted this to be a very entertaining space. As you can see right now, I've got planter boxes. I do change that later to the woodworking table for Sean's carpentry, and I have those little bug things from Eco Lifestyle, because you can get a lot of different ingredients and stuff from those and use them. And then to kind of go with his eco friendly trait, I do later on put some solar panels and a wind panel. I don't know if what I put will actually help operate the house that much, but you can always add if you do decide to download this house and keep the theme of it being more of an eco-friendly type of home. Yeah, see, here is me putting the woodworking table. I think I did that once I figured out the family, once I figured out who lived here. And goodness, I'm trying to think of some housekeeping stuff today. So this video's coming out on Tuesday. Today is Saturday. I have to go back to work tonight, and I'm kind of not happy about it, but you know, I also love to eat, and I love having a place to live, and that's really nice. So I gotta go to work. So I won't really be able to do a whole lot of stuff. I'm happy that I got as many videos done as I have. Okay, so now I'm in Yasmin's bedroom. I wanted her bedroom to feel very feminine, and even though the rest of the house there's no real like gender specific moments in the rest of the home, I wanted her bedroom to feel very feminine. I imagine that Yasmin and Sean, along with their mom, grew up sort of on the low end of the income scale. Like mom was always able to pay the bills, but probably really scraped by on most stuff. And so I think that now that Yasmin has a bit of money, there's a part of her that wanted to create the bedroom that she always wanted as a kid. So I thought having a really like girly kind of bedroom would be something that she would want. Here I am putting some artwork on the walls. I'm trying to think, this video it took me about 3 hours, maybe not the whole 3 hours to build this house, but when I did edit out all of the Twitch footage that was unnecessary and I sped up the video, it was like an hour long. And I really am dedicated to trying to make my videos within the 20-minute range. And right now, this video is like 30 odd minutes, maybe a little less. And so I cut out some things. I'm kind of doing this voiceover maybe a day or so after I edit down the footage. So I can't really remember everything that I cut out. I feel like I cut out much of the dad's room because that room, as I said, I imagine used to be Yasmin's studio, and when dad asked to move in, they went and just got some like IKEA furniture, so I used a lot of base game furniture in there. And then later I cluttered it with things that I feel that dad kind of brought with him. Like, I feel like he's a nomad and probably doesn't have a whole lot of stuff because he likes to be able to get up and go whenever he wants. And so, that photo there from Get Famous, or that picture, I imagine that was maybe Yasmin in a photo shoot. And then that little sort of fairy photo in her bedroom maybe was her first photo shoot. I did leave the dad's footage in here, so I thought I cut it out. But yeah, this room is just sort of IKEA furniture, and then we have some things that dad might have in, like there's some like storage stuff still in there. He might be a painter, and that's kind of how he earns his money. He doesn't have a real job, and he's got, bills and things that he never paid left on the table, and he's trying to figure out how to pay them. And yeah, but I think this room, these two bedrooms, this bedroom and then the brother's bedroom, Sean, they have what's called a Jack and Jill bathroom. I never put bathrooms in my build, but you can kind of see on that overhead, it's a Jack and Jill bathroom, meaning that the two rooms that are on the side of it have access to it. So in gameplay, I would probably guess that's probably a point of contention for the two of them. And of course, Yasmin's bedroom, she has an ensuite. So this is Sean's bedroom. I did get a little inspiration from a Pinterest photo because I don't think that Sean decorated this room himself. I have 100% that think his sister decorated it for him because he's not really into all of that. And so I wanted to create a space that looked really sophisticated because I think in Yasmin's mind, she sees her brother as very sophisticated and he's a very serious type of person. So I wanted him to have sort of a serious type of bedroom, not necessarily masculine, feminine, whatever, but very sort of like darker wood tones, kind of opposite of her bedroom, with a little splash of color, and all the decorations are a little bit more functional than necessarily for decor, except for that big thing from, I want to say that that's from Jungle Adventure Over the Bed, that maybe she bought him on her travels. And then I put a lot of plants. I feel like Sean likes plants, and so I put a lot of plants here at the window. Again, very easily maintained plants, so he's not having to work too hard on them. And maybe after building all day, carpeting all day, he likes to sit and listen to some music. I had a lot of fun building this house. Usually when I'm streaming and I'm in build mode, I'm not very animated because I'm just not used to doing that. Like, usually when I'm building, I'm kind of sitting quietly. But obviously on stream, you have to be a little bit more animated, even if nobody is watching, because if someone does stumble upon your channel, they don't want to sit, or they don't want a boring, like, just someone just sitting there quietly doing whatever. Maybe some do, but I feel like with Sims or any kind of video gaming channel, you have to be a little bit more animated to keep people's attention, which is kind of hard for me because I'm kind of a chill person. Like, I can be animated and get excited about stuff, but I'm mostly a pretty chill out person and usually a pretty quiet person. So streaming is really kind of hard for me, especially when there's no one there. If there's nobody watching, it's extremely hard. And that's generally every time I stream. Very few people or no one is watching. So in this bedroom, I use a lot of gold and white. I feel like that made it feel a little bit more adult. Off camera, I do change the wallpaper to that paranormal wallpaper with all the florals. I do it in white, so you'll see that in the screenshots. I forgot that wallpaper existed, and I think it really went well with what I was going for. It was really kind of hard to find items to decorate this place with because I didn't want it to feel like a little girl's bedroom. I still wanted it to feel like an adult's bedroom, but I wanted it to have that extreme sort of feminine kind of touch. And so this little photograph cluster I use is from the paranormal pack as well. Again, that little photo off to the side that looks like it has a little fairy on it. I imagine that's Yasmin's like very first photo shoot for something, I don't know. And so now I guess I'm just kind of putting in a lot of last minute touches to the space. That table in the middle, you'll see in the screenshots again that I changed it to a wooden table from Jungle Adventure, I believe. No, not Jungle Adventure. Oh, I can't remember the pack, but it's a wooden table that looks more like someone handcrafted it because I wanted it to look like Sean made it. And again, the hallway wallpaper changed, the kitchen wallpaper changed. You'll see all that in the screenshots. I like white for interiors IRL because you can really do anything with it. Like if you're the type of person that every few years you kind of want to change up your style, if you just kind of stick, in my opinion, if you sort of stick with white or you stick with a very neutral tone, then it's a lot easier to do that because you don't feel like you have to match stuff with your walls, if that makes any sense. So this kind of brick that I have behind the bar and the what's this thing called? Fireplace. I then bring, as you see now, I bring all that brick in through. It's kind of funny because as I was building it, at some point I was like, there's no bar here. And you have 3 adults. 2 adults don't really get along. There needs to be a bar. But I am coming up on the end of the video. If you enjoyed it, please let me know by way of pressing the like button. Comment down below your thoughts on the build. I would love to hear them. I would also love to hear any ideas that you might have. Again, like I said, I'm kind of getting back into the swing of things and not feeling necessarily rusty, but I would love any kind of ideas on how I can build, especially something a little different that I've never done before. I'd appreciate that. And if you haven't already and you want to see more content from me, please subscribe. I try to post every week and I would love to have you be a part of the Southie family. As always, my name is Ceci and I promise never to break your game. Bye.
Cold pizza on Tuesday. I got food up in the fridge. Y'all keep looking for that new wave. I think I like it how it is. Cold pizza on a Tuesday. new wave. I think I like it how it is.
My shoestrings untied, I'm running full speed with scissors in hand. I love pointy things. Let's fall on the floor next to all of our needs. Let's lose inhibition, let's fly like our dreams is reality. And real things ain't quite what they seem. Once you hold it, does it gleam? If it's green, is there a soul? Is a soul a real thing? If you're really in the know, is it all a scripted show with the cameras and lights and the laugh track to kill all of my loneliness inside, and a casting crew of friends who are always there when things get dry to crack a joke? But instead I'm hearing Cali up in smoke in real life, where the whole world broke and the pizza always froze. But it's all good, this is all I'll ever know. So I better chow down while the food's straight snow. Make my own damn waves inside my own studio, taking life for what it is, even if it's getting
cold pizza on a Tuesday. I got food up in the fridge.